are now listening to.
You're now listening to.
You are now listening to the Breaking Dads podcast. Enjoy.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Breaking Dads podcast. I'm your host. My name is Woody, and this is episode 11 of the Breaking Dads podcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in right now, listening on Apple Podcasts, and also all of you guys on YouTube. This is the second episode that I'm going to have up here on YouTube in video. I've been promising and telling you guys about it for a long time. Starting to get the setup right together now, so me and YouTube have kind of fixed our differences. So I'm gonna try and do this more often. Get this in video for y'all that don't have Apple products, and those of you on Android, and some of y'all that just enjoy the video more. So I got a very I don't know how to explain it. Maybe some people might say controversial episode coming up right here. Hold on, let me just fix this speaker right now. Sorry, I didn't want y'all to have to see that. But I got a kind of controversial episode coming up. Some people will say I have strong opinions and views. Most of y'all know already, and those of you that are new are gonna find that out as well. And I like to tackle subjects that some people might not want to touch, but I think they need to be discussed. So first off, though, I do want to give a big shout out to all my new viewers and listeners. The podcast has been growing. I have been getting increased. I've been getting more and more questions about it. I have those that have been rocking with me from the beginning. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Those that have sent in the emails to the Breaking Dads podcast at gmail.com. You can still send those in. I still want to do those. Those that comment on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page, the Breaking Dads PC on Twitter. Thank you all. I just want to. The podcast is really gearing up, and I got like a big thing coming up. Kind of want to keep that under wraps, but I always break the fourth wall with y'all. Hold up. I know y'all can hear the babies playing in the background, but I just went ahead and purchased this bad boy. So the video quality and sound quality of this podcast will be jumping exponentially. A lot. I already got a pretty good microphone here, so the sound quality has always been good, but the video quality and the things I will be doing with this camera will be big. I think I'm going to be taking this out and about and getting some other people's opinions live and direct. Let me know if that's something y'all want to see. I'm going to try it anyway, but let me know if there's something you want to see. I am going to be going around with my takes out and about and asking people questions if they agree to on camera. But this is my baby right here. I haven't found a name for it yet. I got one under the works, but I'm working on it. All right, and I'm back. Let me go ahead and get these topics queued up here on my phone. It's been a really busy week. I do want to apologize for the delay. That's something else I do have to say to y'all. I gotta apologize for the delay. I had it's a lot going on. And then this week was the North Carolina State Fair. So I've been running there. Went there twice. Had a blast. Me and my fiance went down there. A lot of fun. I go to eat. I don't get on rides, so I went there to eat. I had tons of food. I had a giant piece of bacon dipped in cheese, covered in jalapeno Cheetos. That's one of the new things at the fair I wanted to try. I did get to try. It was delicious. I did get to try the, ham and cheese in the Hush Puppies. I tried that one. It was all right. But try and true, Sunday we had to go back. We went Friday night. We went Friday night. Had to go back Sunday, and went back and got my fried honey bun. I had to go get it. And I got one of these tall little drink. They used to do them in a pineapple. They did have them, but the line was crazy. We've done the pineapple already, so we got these big, tall glasses like they do in New Orleans. It was a palm tree one. Yeah, that full of strawberry lemonade. Went there. Just came, saw, we conquered. We went in there for the food, came in, got what we wanted to get. Plus, it was crazy. That last day, I've never been on the last day before, but the last day of the North Carolina State Fair was bananas. Friday night, we went, saw the pig racing. We love to see the pig racing every year. That's about the countryest thing I do. I'm sorry to all my Jersey people. Shout out to Jersey. Wearing the Hooters from, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but Union, New Jersey, Route 22. Missed that Hooters. But went up there. I got sidetracked so hard. But the pig racing, yeah, go see it every year. They race pigs, ducks, goats, little big old pot-bellied pigs, all that, man. It was fun to see. So me and Jen, we do that every year. So we went out there, had a good old time. That night, I forgot. That's when I had the big piece of bacon, and I had some other stuff too. We pigged out. Basically, we pigged out. So I had a good old time at the state fair. I don't know what's going on, but I went ahead and canceled my membership at the other gym, and I opened a new one at another gym because I'm like, I'm gonna have to fight. I'm gonna have to fight to get this back off. But yes, okay. I think that's it. What else have I been? Just been working a lot. State fair. The girls are in school. They're doing their thing. Their speech and everything has just, I've seen a jump in it. So I'm really proud of them right there. So the girls are good. I'm good. Fiance's good. The wedding plans is moving along. Yeah, I've just been too busy though to get this podcast out to y'all. But without much further ado, we 6 minutes in, and I ain't hit a single topic yet besides fill y'all in. But let's jump right into it. The problem I've been having, or the thing I've been seeing that's been bothering me, has been I feel like a lot of people are just, it kind of harks back to a couple of episodes, but it's just too many people are getting caught up in like just everything that's going on with this whole, I don't want to say that. I'm sorry, y'all. Now I'm being a little too hesitant right now. I'm gonna kick it into gear, honestly. But I just feel like a lot of people are just getting too caught up in these movements and these things, and not letting people like have a chance to grow. You know, I feel like this is part of that harps back to the digital footprint episode, and kind of harps back to the other episode I had about respecting the grind. Like I feel like with nowadays, and the way that we're going, the way that we're shifting the culture, and just human culture. I'm not talking about hip hop culture or anything like that. But the way we're shifting the culture is we're making people, we're not allowing people the chance to grow and people the chance to like change and evolve. Like I feel like when you explain something, and kind of like what I'm struggling with right now is the problem that you have is when someone speaks their mind, right? You're instantly labeled a hater. When somebody disagrees with you, oh, you hating on this person, that person. And I don't think that's fair, because I feel like someone should be allowed to express their views. Now, you are responsible for your own reactions, whatever it is. But the person speaking, they're responsible for their words. Words mean stuff. Like, that's part of my issue with Kanye West, and that's why I kind of don't want to go there. But I feel like you're responsible for your words. You have the freedom of speech all you want, but you must know that your words hold power. Like, language is important. So your words have power. So you're responsible for your words, but you're not responsible for other people's interpretations of your word. Now, you may go try your best to explain yourself, and when you give like an opinion or a take, you explain yourself, but you're not responsible for someone else's interpretation of it. You're not. If I sit there and tell you X, Y, and Z, and you want to sit there and say ABC about it, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. But if you're offended by it, but I didn't say an offensive statement, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. Like if you get offended by my intent was to say something uplifting, and you get offended by it, like that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to make sure that what I'm saying has good intent and I'm doing it in good taste. And if I do those things and you find it offensive, that's not my fault. That's not my problem. I don't owe you an apology. If my intention was to uplift you and make you feel good about your hair that day, if I go there and say, "Oh man, I really love it when you wear your hair curly like this. It's really beautiful." You can't then say, "Or I really like it when your hair." Sorry, let me say it this way. "Oh, I really like it when you straighten your hair. It looks really nice whenever you straighten your hair." And you interpret that as I'm taking a knock on your natural hair, saying your natural hair isn't beautiful. That's not my fault if you're offended. I don't owe you an apology for that. All I did was give you a compliment. And I feel like that's just an example, and a bad example right off the top of my head, because I'm not trying to pick on women, because guys do it too, a lot more nowadays. But that dips into toxic masculinity a little bit. But I just feel like that's not what it is. And I think the root of certain problems that we're having like this, and kind of with everything that's going on, is I'm that type of person that doesn't like to complain about something without a solution. All right? So I'm going to tell you what I think the problem... Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to tell you what I think the problem is, and then I'm going to give you what I feel like the solution could be. I feel like part of that problem, and part of the problem we have with people being a little overly offended, and everyone... It's kind of like a really sensitive time that you can't really like kick it straight, because you do that and you're vilified. You do that and you're in big trouble. Like, I feel like with that, the root of that is with, and I hate to keep picking it. Everyone's going to feel like I'm picking on the youth, but whatever. The youth. I feel like when I grew up, the people that were pushing the culture, the people that were setting the tempo, were the older heads. Like, the people that were older than us were the ones setting the tempo, making the rules. I feel like we're letting the younger generation kind of run things. We're worried about these 20-something-year-olds and everything, like, not 20-something-year-olds, but like these early, like these late teens, early 20-year-olds really run things. And that's not right. I think that at that time, in that point in your life, you're still figuring things out. And you may be sensitive at that time. So that's fine, but that shouldn't be what pushes the culture. That shouldn't be what is driving and setting the tone. The older heads, the people that have been through things in life, the people that, and not saying 20-year-olds don't go through things, but they haven't lived long enough to like really like a lot of them haven't lived long enough to really like understand and figure out this thing of life. Some 30-year-olds don't got it figured out. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the majority here and not the minority, not the exceptions. I don't focus on outliers. And I think that that's what happens a lot, is that people focus on outliers too much. The majority, the masses, the people that have been here on this earth going through this already, they should be the ones that are really pushing the culture and setting these tones. So that way we don't have a society that's so sensitive, that's so one strike and let's get them on out of here. Like, no. And I said this before, I feel like with social media aging the way it is, when I was 16, the stuff I was tweeting, well, no, I wasn't tweeting at 16. I think it came out like maybe when I was 18, 19 years old. When I was in college, I really want to say is when it took off. The stuff I was tweeting then, 29-year-old me isn't thinking that. I've grown, I've evolved, I've gone through things. You know, there's words that I used back then that I don't use now because I know better now, but I didn't know better then. But if you're to tell me that right now, if I was to make a major move in my career and I'm in the limelight now, people are going to go pull up my old tweets and then go ahead and run me through the ringer for something that was going on back then that I didn't know any better back then. You could sit there and tell a 20-year-old, you should know better. Some 20-year-olds don't. They really don't. Some 30-year-olds don't know no better. And they should, but they don't. So I feel like the same way I think you do need to have that responsibility to clean up your digital footprint, you also need to be aware of your digital footprint and the things that you've done in the past. And you should also be able to have that nuance to understand that, man, yeah, when I was 19, I was kind of tripping. So, you know, he may have said this, but maybe that's not in his heart now. Or maybe that's not in her heart now. Or maybe she don't feel that way now. Or maybe he don't feel that way now. You know, it's just, that's the thing that needs to go ahead and be changed. And I feel like we need to understand that the 30-year-olds, the older heads, they're busy trying to be young. And that's the problem. And we got our visitors coming up. Hi, Callie and Amaya.
Hi.
Baby, stay right here, okay?
Okay.
Say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. Well, I need you girls to go back in your room and go play, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'll see you later.
Look, it's a circle.
I see the circle, baby.
I know.
All right. I love you.
Buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kitty.
Baby, stay over there, okay? I want to give you... Okay, give me a kiss. Here. Here. Mwah. All right. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, Cal, you get one too. All right. Mwah. All right. Go ahead. All right. Hold you up. No hugs, baby. Later, okay?
Okay.
All right. It's my babies. I love them. I don't know if y'all saw them. I'm sorry. They weren't wearing any pants. I might have to go ahead and cut that out. But back to what I was saying. I really feel like the older generation is too busy trying to be young. Trying to still be hip. Trying to be, you know, like, I understand I got a lot of 30-year-old friends or people that I know that are 30 plus that still in the clubs. That's fine. Like, we grew up in the club, like, oh man, look at this old head in the club, this old guy. And there was a stigma there. You know, like, oh, this old corny guy in the club, yada, yada, yada. But you 30-something in the club, nowadays it's different because I feel like with dating and the way dating is, it's different now. It's not as much as, like, social as it was before. Before, it was a lot more social, and it was creepy to see the old guy in the club. Now, with people being single for longer and people breaking up, you might be there's way more single, older, I hate to say older, but 30-year-old, 30-pluses in the club. Like, it's just going to be that way. So there shouldn't be no dire need to try and feel young. Like, there shouldn't be. Just be yourself, be your age. And don't let these younger people dictate what's going on in the climate. The climate should not be dictated by the youth. It should not be. Are they the future? Absolutely. When it's their turn, they need their opportunities. When it's their turn, everything, it needs to happen. Yes, understood. But they should not be behind the steering wheel. No, that's just my opinion. If you 20-something, you feel away, let me know. I have no problem going back and forth with you if you want to. But if I got time to. But I just feel like, no, that's just something that shouldn't be going on, because we see what's happening. We see what's happening. Because you see what's going on with like, I couldn't even imagine, like, growing up around this time. Because that's why I say I can't blame them, but they can't, it's on us to, like, not put them behind the steering wheel. Because look what they have to deal with. Like, I would go crazy growing up in this era. I really would. Thinking about seeing somebody's social media page, right? You go to someone's Instagram, for example. All you see is the highlight reel. You don't see their real life. And I spoke about this, I know already, on, Respecting the Grind. But that's what you see. You see somebody's highlight reel. You don't see their faults. You don't see them. Some people, you do see them in the morning, how they look in the morning, but you don't see when they fail. Like, you might see, someone had a car accident or something, but right after that car accident, next time you see them, they might be back in the club, or they might be posting old pictures until then. Or even to get away from that example, like, we just know what it is. You see people's highlight. You don't see the grind. It's not visible. You're not. And the problem is that our grind of the older generation is now being exposed through your digital footprint. As I was saying before, the steps of growing, your growth, your ground floor is now all out for everyone to see. But this generation now can kind of nitpick and say, oh no, how dare you, because they don't show theirs. They don't, because they grow up in an era where you have to be perfect, where you have to, like, be on your P's and Q's at all times about what you say and all this other stuff. I said it last episode, I want to say, or maybe 2 episodes ago. For us, when we were growing up, when social media was invented, it was the fake world. Real life was when we logged off, because we actually logged off. The fake life was when you got home from school and went and checked your MySpace and you saw those messages and friend requests and comments and all that. Then you logged off and went to sleep and went to school the next day. Maybe some people had got up early enough to check it in the morning, but when you went to school for 8 hours and however other time you had for sports and stuff like that, you didn't have it there. You did not have it right there on your phone to constantly be checking it 24/7. So you stepped away. The real world was that cafeteria. That real world was that playground, wherever it may be, wherever the hangout spot was. That was the real world. This was the fake world. The problem now is it's flipped. This phone is the real world. This is the real world right here. Like, that's crazy. And it's almost like what you do here, that's where you're able to hide and do things in the, when you're moving around out here. But the social media, like, that seems to be their reality. And I just really feel like it just all led to, like, your mistakes being amplified and magnified for the entire world to see. And there's, like, no chances to really make a mistake. And then with the way that this whole cancel culture, like, cancel them, get them out of here, you lose your second chance here in America. Like, America loves a comeback story. But as much as they love a comeback story, they love to tear people down. And that's just sad, because everybody's been down. You can't show me one person that's never been down, never made a mistake. And America is supposed to be the land of second chance. That's the whole point of this place. You know, and you can't lose that, because then you lose the sight of what this is. And don't get me wrong, I understand that this is a flawed country. But the principle of it being a second chance, take this from a son of two immigrants. This being a place of second chance, like, come on. Like, that, we can't lose that, because then we lose this entire place. This place could be as messed up as it wants to be everywhere else, but this needs to still be a place of second chance. Period. Point blank period. There's no other way to put it. I'm sorry if I got a little bit off track. Like, I don't know. That just really bugs me. Like, I don't know. That's why I kind of like, on social media, I'm a little bit different on my social media. I really just show my kids, for the people, like, for my family, and like for people, I might post a little bit about the stuff that I do, but I don't know. It's just, that thing is just a giant highlight reel. It's never like, no one posts mediocrity. No, people only post something really good that happens or something really bad. So, like, if someone gets in a car accident, might let everybody know by putting a picture of their car wreck or their brace or whatever it might be. So you'll see something really bad, or you see something really good, like when someone graduates and they're up there with their cap and gown, and shout out to them, But that mediocrity, that sitting in the middle, somebody at their 9-to-5 job, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see that. You don't. And I don't even see a 9-to-5 job as mediocrity, but you get what I'm trying to say. Because it's sure as heck not. A 9-to-5 job is something to be celebrated in this climate, in this culture, man. Shout out to everybody working a 9-to-5. Mine's not a 9-to-5, but you can consider it a 9-to-5. Shoot. But that's getting way off topic. I just feel like I did all that complaining, and like I said, I don't like to complain without offering a solution. I feel like we need to understand, or just open our eyes to what we're doing out here. Like, open your eyes to the culture. Understand what you're looking at. Understand that what you see on that phone isn't real life. Understand it's a highlight reel. You just gotta understand that there is a middle ground to everything you're seeing. Be skeptic with these things. Don't compare yourself to somebody else's highlight reel. Don't. There's no need to. It's like, doing that will make you a lot happier about yourself. I feel like that 1,000%. Like, because you got to know that people choose what they want to post on there. If your phone automatically posted whatever you were going through that day, if every day you had a post and it automatically posted what you did that day, people's Instagrams would not be as popping as they are. Period. It wouldn't be. And I'm sorry for this period thing. I don't know where I'm getting that from. I just feel like that would, like, change things drastically. So it's like, we need that middle ground. Like, all societies, like every single society, they have their kings, right? They have those people high up here, right? And then they have the peasants down here. And, peasants is seen as a bad, negative word. But the common folk, whatever, let's call it the common folk, right? Shout out to my Game of Thrones watchers, right? But there's those middle lords that are bannermen. So they are under this king, and they're like lords of this place or whatever. They got a castle. And this is what a lot of people need to understand. This is the point I'm going with right here, right? There's kings up here. So those celebrities that got those 1%ers, those people with a lot of money, right? And then those are the people down there. There's the common folk. Those are the people down there struggling hardcore. We know, like, the veterans that come home and don't get no support. And we got the homeless people. We got those people down at the bottom. But then there's those people in the middle that have good enough. They're not great. They're not up there with the kings, but they're lords of their own lands. They may be renting. They might be living under this lord's land or whatever it might be. Fine. They're under the king, though. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not telling people to settle for, middle ground or whatever it might be. But every society needs this balance. Not everybody's going to be a king. Shoot to be a king. Absolutely. Dream, aspire, do what you got to do. But if that's not in the cards for you, if you fall short, don't look at yourself as a failure. No. Appreciate what you have. Appreciate what you do have, and appreciate as far as you can reach. Shoot for them stars. Like they have that saying, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're still amongst the stars. Absolutely. You may not be on the moon, but you up there. You there. You doing things. So remember that. Like, hold your heads up there. Like, it's a grind. It's a struggle. It's everything. It's tough. This world is tough. Absolutely. Now, these kids want to aspire to be the rappers and all that. Fine, aspire to that. Cool. Great. Give it a shot. Why not? You want to be these 1%ers. You want to do that. Who the heck's going to say no? That Mega Millions over $1 billion. I personally don't play the lotto, but go for it. I don't down anybody that don't want to. You might hit. Go for it. But what I'm saying is, if at the end of the day, you don't hit, you don't become a 1%er, you're not a millionaire, but you a thousandaire. You got your health, you got somebody that loves you, you got a car, you got a job, you got a retirement plan, you might have some kids that love you, that you in their lives, trying to help them grow. What's wrong with that? Why are you on your phone looking at this person's life, doing more, going to trips here, there, here, left and right? Like, damn, I want to be that. And you miserable, not paying attention to the great things that you have going on at home. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be happy with what you have. Can you want more? Can you aspire for more? Can you grind so you can get more? Absolutely. But don't sit there and stare at that phone and be envious or be like, unappreciative to what you have going on. That's where we get lost. And not to get too preachy, I'm sorry, but this is just how I feel. I'm getting it out. I'm just getting this out right now because it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. But on to a little bit of a kind of wanted to talk about this story because I wanted to bring back my middle finger 2 segment, and I kind of want y'all to participate here. Give me a couple suggestions on who I should give the middle finger to this in the future. But I really want to give the middle finger to this one lady. I read the story. I want to say it was in New York because I saw the video and I remember going on and talking about it. I like to do these podcasts centered on something I see and then let everything like kind of spiral from there. This episode's been a little bit different. Like I don't know if y'all remember, Pink Bag was all based off that Pink Bag meme I saw. But this one right here, I saw the video of the lady. This is a lady I want to say in New York, who was online at the stores, at a bodega, a little corner store, and a little kid walks by, and she, to her, I don't know, in her brain, she felt something brush against her rear end, her butt, and she flips out, looks around, sees a little 9-year-old boy, says his little boy touched her, flips out, calls the cops, and is calling the cops, and instantly gets on the phone saying, yes, I've been sexually assaulted. And, the police come down. So and everything happened from there. I'm going to fill in the rest of the story. Don't worry. But, I'm talking about from the video I saw. That this is what happened. And they have the lady in the middle of the store. There's a news anchor next to her. There's cameras. And the store is filled with people of the community. And she's watching the surveillance tape. And she watches it happen. And she sees that the little boy, in all actuality, did not grab her butt. His book bag happened to brush against her rear end. And she, went off and screamed and yelled. Little boy is crying. He's scared. And so when she sees that, she says, oh, well, you know what? I owe him an apology. I am sorry. And to that little boy's and the people, yelling at her, cussing at her. If he was 18, he'd be locked up right now, all that other stuff. And they're right. They have a point. And she deserved it. And I feel like she deserved every bit of it because in that situation, that you feel like something. Talk to that kid's mother. If he's a 9-year-old boy, now if that's a grown man, that's different. Well, you see, that's a 9-year-old boy. Talk to his mother. Let his mother handle that situation. I don't know if she had kids or not. And then there was people outside the store reprimanding her. I later on went on to see the video of like when she actually was on the phone with the police, and there was another lady sitting there trying to reprimand her, and she's bringing race into it and all this other stuff. And it was really disgusting and disturbing to watch that video. And to that boy's credit, he said, I do not accept her apology. Because she could have ruined that boy's life. Because we've seen this. Like this, unfortunately, is exactly what a lot of people were fearing and trying to run away from. Like when people were trying to run away from when they were saying the whole Me Too movement was dangerous or was being weaponized or whatever it might have been. This is what people were saying. This is why me personally, I subscribe to. They had this thing where they were saying believe all women, and this is that was those people's counterpoints, and I kind of stayed out of it, and I didn't know too much how to feel about the whole thing. I felt that those men that actually did do those things were absolutely terrible. I felt sympathy and empathy for those men that didn't do anything, and there were women that were lying, because we've seen this from the I don't want to say the dawn of time, but I remember growing up with the story of Emmett Till. And that lady, I want to say maybe a couple years ago, and it was kind of sad that it's been brushed under the rug, that the lady came out in the book and said, you know what, I didn't make that up. He didn't whistle at me. And we saw what happened to Emmett Till. Off the accusations of a lady. And accusations, period, is the bigger, broader part of it. Is the accusations could be made by a man on, oh, this guy did something or another, and people go through stuff like that. But we're going to stick on topic to this right here. And this is not a woman bashing segment by all means, because I believe, my opinion on the matter is, this is how I would say it. I would say, because a lot of women don't get heard. And that's the problem. And that's what needed to change. Women needed to be heard. A lot of women were ignored or cast aside or whatever it might be. And that's not right. Listen to all women, but believe all evidence. I'm going to say that one more time. I don't know. I just make sure I said it right and make sure I heard me right. Listen to all women, but believe all evidence. And I know that's tricky because some people say, well, there may not be evidence, but he did it. But unfortunately, just because you say something and you can't prove it doesn't always mean that it should be ran with. And we know those are those opportunities, those situations where stuff happens. We don't have no evidence, but it happened and we know it happened. But it's one of those cases where, because people weaponize these things, we need to have evidence. And in this day and age where we got all this technology and everything that we have more access to be able to sit there and have evidence. You know, I kind of want to make this point, but follow me here. If Emmett Till and his friends had their phones out at that time, you know, if they had phones in those, that could have been a little bit different. Things could have been different. And I know the times were different, but I'm just saying, imagine that situation where some kids hanging out outside a store and somebody goes walking by and they can sit there and say, oh, he was whistling at me. One of their friends could have been on Snapchat recording something, could have been like, hey, look right here. We were just outside chilling. He never even looked at her. Or you see us look at her, but nobody said anything to her. And there's proof because we have the technology to do so. You know what I'm trying to say? And I know you're not going to record every second of your life because you never know what might happen, but we have that opportunity. You know, I don't want to do too many of the example things because that's where it gets tricky, but I just feel like we have more opportunity and access to evidence. So we should absolutely. All right, sorry about that. Had a minor technical difficulty, but I am back. So to make the point I was making is, we need to listen to every single woman. Because for far too long, women that put in these situations that have gone through these things have gone ignored. So we need to listen to every woman, but we need to believe all evidence. And that's not to take away from anyone that's been through anything, who doesn't have any evidence or whatever it might be. Blame the people that are trying to weaponize this movement and turn it into something where they can use it to hurt other people. Unfortunately, that's the flip side of this. That's the ugly part of it that I feel like gets unspoken about. And that's part of why I have this podcast, is able to, you know, to get these thoughts out. Maybe people agree with me, maybe you'll disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. You got avenues to talk to me. You got the Breaking Dad's Facebook page. You got the Breaking Dad PC at Breaking Dad PC on Twitter. And you can email me at the Breaking Dad Podcast on Gmail. or you can put it right here in the comments, right here on the YouTube page. I think they're like down here somewhere. You put them right down there. And I love to talk to you. I love to hear your point of view, your stance. I listen with an open ear, and I appreciate and welcome anybody willing to comment or who wants to say their piece. I will have some more people on the show. I showed y'all the camera. The show will be moving. I'll be able to pump out more content for y'all. So be on the lookout for all content coming from the Breaking Dads from the Breaking Dads podcast. Okay, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening and watching. This podcast is growing. It's getting better. It's improving. And I thank you all for sticking with me. And those of you that are just showing up now, I appreciate you for coming through. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna try to get this out more regularly now. I'm gearing up now. I'm able to have this avenue where I'm able to do the visuals as well. Me and YouTube, we worked out our differences, and me and Apple Podcasts is still going strong as ever. I had an opportunity for a couple of sponsors, but I told them I didn't want to sell them short until the podcast was like something was a little bit better. I have a standard for myself that I try to set, but I also know that I respect the grind as well, and I understand that it's going to be a grind to build, and I thank you all for building with me. So yes, this was episode 11 of the Breaking Dads podcast. Thank you for listening, and we out.